G'day and welcome to Dave's Model Workshop. Today I am building my next building. So this is what it looks like. It's quite a modern building. It's here in Melbourne, and yeah, I went, visited the site, took a whole bunch of measurements, and I've converted those down to 1/24th scale. So yeah, my original measurements are in pencil, and then the red conversions are down 1/24th size, and here I am building it. So I have so far, just out of styrene card, I have built the kind of wooden planking, whatever you want to call it, the wooden exterior. And I'm also, so that's just plain old styrene, and all I have done is scribe some lines in it to get that wood effect. So you can see the wood effect here when I hold it in the light. Just doing a bit of a clean up, that one. And I'm also using this blue foam, so it's plain old blue insulation foam, nothing extraordinary. And I'm using that for this section here. So I've measured out roughly how that's going to work. So I'm going to use my hot wire cutter and cut those pieces to size. So just building the bones of it at this stage, really. Yeah. Here's the basic structure of that front part of the house. So it's gone together. There's a bit of reinforcing in there, but I wouldn't say it's amazing. I think there's a bit of a gap there, if I'm being honest. But it should be enough to get me to a basic, fairly square shape. And I have also built 2 roof sections. So this one goes at the back, and this one goes at the front. And they both angle down slightly, so there's a V in the center of the roof. So one angles down like that, one angles down like that. So these will give me a lot more strength to the structure, because at the moment it's pretty wobbly. So there's a whole lot of detailing around the windows that I need to do, and that's a different colour. So I am going to paint this now and then start on the window detailing. Try and get that out of the way. I also have made this front fence, which, oh, it's not the greatest photo of it. There, it's slightly better. Is that front fence there. So each of these uses 19, I think it is, strips of styrene. There's 4 of them. I went through about 4 packets of this making these. So this is evergreen item number 113, so it's basically styrene strip. So each of them cost $9, so that's about $40 worth of fence there. Isn't that insane? Yes, this house is using up a lot of styrene strip. Every single one of those, every single window frame, styrene strip, down the side, styrene strip. It's a lot of styrene strip on this build. After a first coat of airbrushing, this is where we're at. So it's amazing what a difference a bit of colour makes, isn't it? The roof in particular, I've done it a fairly gruesome shade of greyish green. So I've done it RLM grey. I don't know what that stands for, but anyway. It's a fairly greenish grey, but I'm going to do the salt technique on that and spray it an aluminium, a metallic aluminium. So this is going to be like the base layer that sort of shows through as dark spots underneath. So I'll salt that up right after I finish here. For these wooden beams, I've kind of deliberately done my airbrushing a little bit random in places, just to try and get a slight woody grain effect, or at least that sort of natural timber effect. And I also sprayed just a very gentle spray of brownish above the windows, just to again vary the tone a little bit. I've also sprayed the interior, so the roof will sit about there, so needed to be able to see that interior of the balcony, and sprayed the fence. It looks so much better sprayed. Yeah, so we're getting there. It's all happening. Alright, now I'm going to go and blob some water onto my roof and then sprinkle salt all over it. I've got a series of window frames that I've made here, simply made out of evergreen styrene strip, nothing special, and just trimmed to size, so they're going to sit on the outside of each of the windows, just about like that. So I'll glue those on, and then I'll glue glass on the interior, just make it nice and neat. Then I got a few of those. Stick those on now. I kept those off, so I've sprayed them separately metallic silver, metallic aluminium, and just did it separately because it's so much easier to colour them and paint them separately to sticking them on. Just so much easier this way. Got two cool things to show you out here in my outdoor workshop. So one is my wire cutter, which is a great thing, amazing tool. So I'm going to use this to cut some foam. I need a bit more foam cut. You can see where I've marked already on the foam where I'm going to cut it, and here goes. Check this out, it's the best. Try and not put my hand in the way. Perfect, 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 perfect. Much better than I could ever do with any kind of blade. So I'm going to cut this to shape. I've got one more cut along there to do, but yeah, hot wire cutter, the best. If you haven't already checked out my other video on it, just search on my channel hot wire cutter and you'll see it. I love this tool. And the second thing I have to show you outdoors here is my roof from yesterday. So I wet it, I sprinkled sea salt on it, let it dry. You can see all the sea salt, and I'm going to spray it with some aluminium metal. So when I spray this, the salt will get painted as well as the plastic, and then when you wash, let it dry, wash the salt off, and all these little salt specks will show through the grey green from beneath. It just gives a really nice texture. Much more interesting than just a plain old metallic surface. So I'm going to put on my face mask, crank up my spray brush, and yeah, spray some aluminium on top of this. There we go, 2 metallic roof panels. So I'm going to let that paint dry. I tried to paint it on fairly thin so you could see the interesting colour variation in the bottom tone, in the base coat. Yeah, I'll leave that to dry and then rinse off the soap with water. Rinse off the salt with water and show you the final result. I have also started making the front door. So this is the front door. I'm building this set of 6 window panes down the side here, and it's again just styrene strip, cut to size, put together, trying to keep in right angles. Pretty straightforward. Nothing too extraordinary here. Here's the main part of the building. So the roof is on. Let me just turn the light off here, you might get a bit more of a natural colour. So the roof is on. It's got a kind of V shape going in, that's on the original, and right now I'm just putting these aluminium caps on top of the balcony there. I've also made little tiny lights. Struggling. You can see what it is. Little tiny lights that I'll mount inside it as well. So for the capping, all I did was get a piece of styrene, a little bit of rod for those sort of rivets, and yeah, I've started gluing them on. Just about to glue the last piece on here. And it's definitely coming together. All the windows are in. Yeah. I'll show you the inside. I'll put my camera down for a second. This is the interior. And I'm thinking I need to put just a piece of cardboard in here to give it a little bit more strength, a bit more rigidity as well, because at the moment it's a bit big and a bit wobbly if I'm not careful. But yeah, it's coming together. And this is where I'm at with the, I don't know, section 2, is that what I'm going to call it? It's this section over here, this tall vestibule-y section of the building. So I've painted it with Tamiya enamels, Dectan was the colour I painted it. And look, I got a bit lazy on this one. I should technically base coat it with, I usually use Ammo One Shot primer, and it stops anything enamel from eating into the paint. Sorry, eating into the foam. If you're not careful, if you thin down your enamel paints with too much thinners, it'll just eat away at the foam really drastically. But I figured if I don't put much thinner in today, I can get away with it, and it seems to have worked. But I will point out to you, there was one little spot. I had a Q-tip, a cotton bud, that I had been cleaning up my airbrush with, and I finished with it, put it down, and it somehow managed to touch the foam, and the tiniest bit of thinners on it, that's what your thinners do if you're not careful. They just eat into the foam. You might be looking at the crack there saying, whoa, that's a terrible seam, but lucky, very, very lucky for me, it's going to be hidden. This wall here, let me show you another shot. This wall here will go there, and it will hide that ugliness. So, close call there. Very lucky that that didn't happen, you know, right up here where it's going to be completely visible, or worse, here right on the front. So that's a learning for me for next time, isn't it? Excuse me. Here are my window frames that I've built to go into that, and the roof that sits on top. So it's starting to come together. This one is a bit tight. I might put the camera down. Excuse me, I'm getting over a cold. Winter. Yeah, this top one is a little bit tight, but it does fit with a little gentle wrangling in. Very gentle. Watch me stuff it up on camera. No, that's not going to happen. Alright, look, I'm going to do this off camera, because you just know if I'm trying to do it on camera, it's going to go wrong. I'll crack something. That's that one. I'll fix it up. And the bottom one here looks good on first impressions, but I don't know if you can see this base piece here. It rode up ever so slightly on this side, so I've had to account for that down the bottom. So it looks great. It's really nice. It's really straight up the top. Check it out on the grid on the cutting mat, and then you get down the bottom there and something went wrong. Yeah, that's it, straight. So something's gone a bit wonko down the bottom there. Anyway, it fits. So I'm going to put them in and show you. There we go. That's better. This last piece here goes just there, and then I'm going to cut out a door out of styrene and put it on. I'll show you a photo of the door, just scrolling through my images. So that's what the door looks like. So it's plain black, pretty simple, glossy black. So that will be pretty straightforward. So this piece is coming along, and the backing plate will go here, so there'll actually be a little bit of space inside there. And there's one thing that I'm going to try and build in that space, just flicking through all my reference shots. Bloop, 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 bloop. Ah, that's the one I wanted. So this chandelier thing hangs in the center of that vestibule, right up the top, right about here. And I'm wondering how I make that, because I just don't know how to make that chandelier. If you've got any suggestions, please chime in. I'm all ears. Yeah, maybe. Ooh, I'm not sure. I've been considering paper mache or something. I'm really not too sure. That's something to ponder. So I'll show you what it all looks like so far. That's it together so far. So this has been part one. I hope it's been interesting. I feel like a lot of the way through this I've been saying, you just do that, you just do that. It's really simple. You know, there's no crazy techniques on this. It's just a matter of measuring and having patience to do it. But yeah, that's it so far. And let's compare it to the original. Whoosh! Seamless, David, seamless. So that's the original. It's definitely coming together. Whoa, another horrible panning of the camera. Yeah, if you have any questions, please chime in below. If you have any suggestions on how to do that chandelier, I'd love to hear them. And otherwise, I'll see you next week with part 2 where I keep on building. Alright, hope this has been interesting, guys. See you later.